What is going on? Welcome back to Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. I'm here backstage at the PGF for one of the athletes, Mr. Kevin Sherrill. What is up, brother?
Guys?
Thanks for coming here, dude.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for kicking ass and taking names. I gotta say, your match yesterday with Jamie Carnell was one of my favorite matches of the evening. You almost had him in a super tight ankle lock, dude.
Man, I'm so mad about that.
How do you feel about that match?
So mad about it, man. That the match itself, yeah, I'd say frustrated still. Like having someone's back in the first minute, and then like I knew he was going to be hard to kill on the back for sure. I saw his match with Andy. He had a match with Nick Ortiz where Nick Ortiz apparently just locked him in a rear naked choke for like 3 minutes. Casey was telling me afterwards. I was like, all right, yeah, I kind of felt that. He's pretty resilient, but I still wish I hadn't given it up. I should have just ridden that thing out until the 5 minutes. Then we got in that 50-50 exchange, which was fun. He's resilient there. He's tough. He's aggressive. It was a good little leg exchange for a while, man. Wish I'd have stayed on the leg lock, but I couldn't see his face. I didn't think he was going to tap. And like, maybe I could have broke it, but it takes a lot to break that shin. So
yeah, especially that belly down version that you were hitting.
Like you don't have a lot of hips behind it.
Yeah.
Could have kept leaning, but yeah.
I'm going to do my best impression of his face. I think it was like...
Yeah,
Mike Jones was like that. It was not good. I got it on the, I'll try to splice it in here on this interview so people can see. But it's like, yeah, he wasn't having a great time. He said his foot's pretty sore today. So I dare say that you are certified badass.
Bro, if people tap him on that foot today, I'm gonna be so
Well, you made it. You loosened it up for him.
A little alley-oop action.
Yeah, it's like when you can't open a pickle jar and you hand it to your buddy to finish off.
Smash it.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, it was mostly me, you know?
Yeah.
So, dude, same concept applies here. Well, dude, let me ask you this. It's a question I ask everyone on the show. How does training in martial arts help your mental health?
I think it's an outlet for something that we don't normally get to let out. I was talking to somebody about this, and there's like, obviously there's all the normal like rewards and fulfillment you get from any sort of hobby or passion, any sort of craft that you pursue and you get to self-actualize into. You get to become a better version of yourself every day. You get to see these like long-term gains on skills. Like, I've talked to people about it before with just general craft. Most people never break into, you know, the top 20% of anything in their life, right? They dabble forever and they never invest themselves. They never truly try to be great at something, or they do. And then they hit that point that we've all hit, right? Where you start to realize just how deep that well goes and they stop. So there's all that stuff, but you can get that like, you know, playing piano. The thing I think jiu-jitsu has that, only other combat sports have is we get to tap into this, like, as well as doing that, the finer craft, the best version of ourselves. We also get to be the worst version of ourselves. We also get to tap into, you know, the animal part of ourselves that like, you know, there's a social aspect to the world where we always want to be like collaborating and communicating with people and cooperating and working with everyone else and working socially and getting closer. But we also have an animal part of ourselves that has to be there.
Yeah.
And you don't really get to embrace the violent, primal part of yourself that wants the fight, that wants confrontation, that wants to find out, that wants to feel like you're better than someone, or is forced to realize that you aren't better than someone, that like you have to be, you have met your match. And there's some authenticity there, man, that just doesn't exist elsewhere, that like, if you can handle it, you know, it's tough, right? It's tough for all of us. We've all, you know, left the gym before and put our head on our steering wheel and just been like, man, I guess I'm not that guy. But we've also all beat our gym rival, you know, the blue belt. We've been trying to tap forever. We get that first tap and you feel like a god. Yeah. So, I think it's the authenticity. Chasing any craft, I think will help your mental health over a long period of time, because you will end up with this solid piece of yourself that nobody can take from you, right? I know who, no matter where I struggle, I know who I am, right? Any craft can do that for you. And I think jiu-jitsu does that for you. And jiu-jitsu also is very harsh on both the winning and the losing side, like in combat. Yeah. It's extremely harsh. It's extremely real. It breaks no argument, right? The mats don't lie is the way people always put it. There is no argument about it. So, there was like a whole conversation about like the stall calls this week and all the rules and stuff like that. And people keep using the word fair. And I'm like, man, when have we ever been involved in fair, right? Like we can chase it, we can pursue it, but that's not what we have control over here. That's not why I do jiu-jitsu. Like I didn't get into this thing for fair. It would be nice. It would be nice, sure, whatever. But we're in this thing for reality. The reality is you have a problem in front of you. Whether that problem is fair or not is not your business. You have to deal with it.
That extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership. Ultimate accountability.
That applies everywhere off the mats too, man. Wow, that was beautifully said, Kevin. Thank you for sharing that perspective with us, man. I want to linger a little longer on one thing you said, which is at the beginning, you were talking about how it's an outlet for like the worst of you. And this is something that I think about a lot. It's crazy. The vocabulary we use around jiu-jitsu is literally bad stuff. Like what's one of the biggest compliments you can give someone in the training room?
Savage.
Or they're a problem.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're a problem.
They're a problem. Like if it like, or here at this tournament, for example, like athletes backstage, the biggest compliment would be like
Jet Thompson just walked by. I walked up to him after our match and said, hey man, you're an absolute bastard and I hate you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a compliment. But in reality, anywhere else in life, that's like fighting words. Yeah. That's like, what do you mean I'm a problem?
Yeah, dude.
What do you mean I'm a bastard?
He cracked up. He liked it. He knew exactly what it was. Yeah, you're right.
It's like, oh wow, I'm a bastard. It's great. But in anywhere else, that's like, oh no, fuck, like gotta sharpen up a little bit.
You don't like me? Yeah.
Or like, imagine your manager comes to you and is like, hey man, you're a problem in here. You're becoming a problem in here. You're kind of a bastard. Yeah. And we hate you. It's like, oh shit, I'm probably about to get fired. Like, that's not good.
There's a very interesting discussion a buddy of mine had. We were talking about like exactly this. He trains as well. And we were talking about like, we both have like some pretty like nerdy pursuits in our regular life. We have hobbies or whatever. And we go into these spaces and both of us are fighters. And we have to be like, it used to be a lot of like tiptoeing around and walking on eggshells because like we're in a space with people who like not to like stereotype nerds, but it's a lot of people who are very like a little quiet, a little reserved, maybe not so social, maybe not so confident. And we have to always be kind of delicate about it. Or we were having to do that for a long time. And then we hit a point where like it became not necessarily our problem, right? Where it was like, hey man, like I'm never going to be mean to these guys, but like I have to take ownership over me. And like, I've had people be like, oh man, like he's scared. They'll tell me, they're like, you're a little scary, you're a little intimidating, which is really funny in this context. Cause I think I'm like one of the least intimidating people around fighters. Fighters are not scared of me, but like, I'm super approachable or whatever. But like in certain contexts, people like if they know you're a fighter, they're a little like, oh man. So I always used to like try and put like muggles at ease, whether I was working in the corporate world or whatever. I always try to put them at ease. And then at a certain point, it's just like, man, I can't do that for you. I can't take ownership of like your feelings about me. Yeah. To be like, oh, you're a little intimidating. I'm like, that's okay.
It's just your perspective. Dude.
Yeah.
Other people's perspective is something like you will never understand.
And you can't manage it. It's up to them, man. So like, it's a very weird world we live in. Us specifically, fighters, people that train, we occupy this very unique and strange space in the world.
Yeah. I was thinking about that yesterday because I was backstage with you and Jamie after your match. I wish I had recorded it because it was such a great conversation. But the two of you were like having almost a gleeful conversation about you almost breaking his foot. You were like, man, I thought I really had it. He was like, yeah, dude, it was close. It was so close. You almost broke my foot. It was awesome. And you're like, yeah, man, I felt it too. But like, it was like both of you were excited. Like he was just as excited as you about the fact that his foot almost got broken. Yeah, man. And we're weird.
We're weird people.
We're a weird little crew of ninja assassins.
Yeah, it's so funny. Weird. We all know it when we get around normal folk and you're like talking about like, oh man, and this is how you break their leg. And you're like, oh, I've gone too far. Yeah. Like, you're at a party and like everyone's uncomfortable now. You wouldn't actually do that, would you? And you're like, no. No, well, I wouldn't.
Not unless pressed.
Yeah. I'd say in competition, you're like, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. But in your head, they're like, you wouldn't actually do that. I'm like, no, never.
Not me. I'm a nice guy. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, man.
This has been a lot of fun. Before we wrap this up, can you share with us, like, is there anyone that you want to thank or anything you're trying to promote while you're here?
Oh, yeah. Rio Camp BJJ. If y'all don't know Paul Ardea, you need to pay attention to jiu-jitsu a little more. He's 5-time trials champ. Sergio Ardea, black belt attorney, and Ernesto Rivera, as well as Ron Jucal from American Top Team. They do a trip out to Rio. I went last year and we trained for a week. We have a little like boating trip while we're out there down in Rio. There's like excursions. It was genuinely like life-changing, man. It was the best training I had all year. I did it the week after the last PGF. I just like hopped on a plane and went out to Rio, and it was incredible. So there's like limited spots available. We keep it pretty small because like, you know, we all got to fit on a boat. If you go to my Instagram, you can see the boat. It's nice, but we all got to fit on a boat. We all got to be able to go cliff diving. We do all these things, and it's like a little small community. We go to these gyms,
fucking awesome.
Dude. And like, obviously like Jucal's from Brazil, and he'll like, we had like ADCC veterans that train in Brazil that were showing us around, taking us to these gyms, like it was really, really cool, man. It's a unique space. Like you can go to Brazil, or you can go to Brazil with like people who are from there and are willing to like bring you into that world and make you a part of the community. Like check it out. Rio Camp BJJ on Instagram.
Hell yeah, man. That sounds freaking awesome.
Dude, it's great. It's so
holy
fun.
Crap. Does that cost like $1 million, or is it pretty affordable?
It's pretty affordable. I think so last year I got my ticket to Rio for like $360.
That's not too bad.
Not bad at all. Bad. I think we stayed in a really nice Airbnb, but they also have housing provided on the website. You can look at different packages. There's some that are just they'll like put you in a hotel with all the other campgoers, or you can go by yourself, and arrange your own.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we arranged our own, and I spent more on the Airbnb. But then once you get there, like it's really cheap. I think it's, the exchange rate's like 5 to 1.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's nothing.
So like, yeah, man, there was like these little like, gosh, I'm blanking on the name. If you like Brazilian barbecue, you know the name I'm talking, picanha. So it's like this steak, and we would go out to these like nice steak restaurants, and, we'd get these like picanha for 4. We'd order a picanha for 4. There's 4 of us sitting at a table, and they go, cool, 1, right? And we go, no. I'll take 1. He'll take 1. He'll take 1. And we would just smash through a 4-person serving of picanha because you're training, you're burning calories.
And it's so cheap.
And it's the equivalent of like $20.
Wow. Yeah.
Four dinners. Oh man,
that's crazy.
And it was oh my god, it's really a phenomenal time, man. It was fantastic. We went through the beaches of Ipanema. Like you get your training in the morning, you learn from like,
sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, each one of those guys teaches every day, and it's a small group. It's great. It's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. I'm not involved in the organization of it. Those are my friends, and I went for the first time last year. They've done it. I think this is the first time they started doing a camp. They used to go and train there every year, and like they were like, man, we got to share this with people. Like it's a really cool thing we get to do. So they like turned it into a camp where we could bring other people from the community, the Atlanta community mostly. Were the people that went with us last time. There were a handful of people from like Canada and other places that jumped in with us. It was a great time. It's a phenomenal experience. I would love to I keep talking it to these people, to people I want to come with. I like the PGF staff, or I'll hang out. I'm like, guys, come have a blast.
Sounds like a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I want to do that. Well, you convinced me.
Dude. Come through.
Sounds badass. When is it?
It would make it's in November.
So you have time. Oh wow.
You can get your passport, you can get everything. And like you can wait for a deal on a flight. Dude, come through, bring the camera.
Sounds dope.
It's fantastic.
All right. Well, good little sales pitch there. I'm convinced, bro. That's awesome. It's interesting too, because I had Christian Graugert on the podcast recently. He's the guy who started BJJ Globetrotters.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he had a similar sort of way that he started Globetrotters, which is now, if people don't know, like that's like the by far #1 jiu-jitsu camp company. Like they do the most amazing camps. I've been to some of their camps. It's fucking awesome. But I had him on the show, and it sounded like it evolved the same way. Yeah. Like literally they just were all
traveling. And
not even, they were literally, it started in Norway, where is he from? Freaking Denmark. Started in Denmark, where he's from. Literally it was just like, they were like, oh yeah, come for this week, friends. And this is the week we're having visitors come, and it was just like friends and family that all just were going to come and have like a little jiu-jitsu vacation together. And they were doing that for a long time. And then one of them had the bright idea, like, oh, maybe we should make this into a business or something. Yeah. And then Christian was like, oh yeah, I guess sounds great. And then now it's one of the greatest things. And Christian is very humble about it. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes into this stuff, but it sounded like it evolved very organically the same way.
Yeah. And that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. And it's still like, again, first year was last year. And like, we were halfway through the week and people like, I think there was like 30, maybe 40 of us last time. Maybe they capped it. I'm not sure how many people go. I didn't count, but like we got halfway through the week and people were like, they were like, hey guys, how do you guys want to structure our training? Like we were doing 2 sessions and they were like, well, we'd like to take a little break tomorrow. We were there for a holiday and they're like, you know what? We'll take a break tomorrow. We'll do it on this day. Like we all just have a conversation.
Yeah.
So like
awesome.
if you've ever gone to a jiu-jitsu camp, I've done these ones before where like you start skipping sessions.
Yeah.
Because you get exhausted.
Too much.
And then you're missing out on content.
Yeah.
That's not what this is really. You just like, if you've never approached Paul at a tournament, man, he's super approachable. So we're all at dinner and we were like, hey man, we're all kind of beat up. Do you guys want to like take a boat trip tomorrow? And that's how the excursion came out. Is they were like, yeah, we'll book a boat and we'll all just take a day, have a boat trip. So it's a super personal thing, man.
It's kind of customizable.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome, dude.
It's like a collaborative experience when you go down there. It's cool.
Well, that sounds awesome, dude. Well, hey, last question. I've been trying to ask this to everyone, the athletes. What would you say to the version of yourself that started training from where you are right now? Like how old were you when you started?
So I started, it depends, right? So like I started wrestling when I was 13.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of judo, a little bit of MMA training. Oh, cool. I started jiu-jitsu in 2016. So it's been 8 years.
So what would you say to like 12 or 13-year-old Kevin?
12 or 13-year-old Kevin?
Yeah, before any of this
for sure.
Craziness.
I would say, so I embraced it pretty hard early on. I would say invest in physical therapy and a nutritionist. Like, I know that's like a weird one, but like, I don't have any problems about like what I did people talking about like, oh man, invest technically or whatever. When I started, I was all in. I listened to everything. I was taking notes. I was like the consummate student, right? The one thing that I think because I'm 32 now, I've had to take seriously is my physical therapy and nutrition and like really invest in that. And I've seen incredible gains.
Yeah.
Like it's more fun to train. I feel healthier. I'm not as beat up. I would tell a younger me who could just go on steam, the kids can just go and throw themselves at the wall. Like, hey man, preventative rehab is a thing. Invest in physical therapy, keep yourself healthy, eat well. You'll feel so much better. You'll have more energy. That's what I would do. We put a ton of effort into our time on the mat. It's so easy to like learn to cook yourself a healthy meal.
Yeah.
Learn that stuff and it'll make your life so much easier, a lot happier.
Yeah, dude. Man, that's very well said.
Yeah. Don't take that to mean you can't have that cheesecake. Like enjoy your life, but make sure you're getting the nutrition you need to train,
Get the macros, get whole healthy foods that grow in the ground.
Spend that 15 minutes with the bands, stretching and getting those little muscles like strong or whatever. Yeah. Do that stability in your lower back or whatever.
Yep. One of my mentors, Zach.
That's an athlete or coach that can hear my voice. I think they're about to start in a second up front.
Well, looks like we're about to start, man. We got to wrap this up. But yeah, one little quote to end on based off what you said. One of my mentors, Zach Evanesh, he's been on this show before. I'll put the link somewhere below. But he said that you can look around at people's bodies, and he said there's 2 body types you see. You see steak and potatoes, or you see pizza and soda. He's like, that's it. He's like, really, it's that simple. He's like, just go steak and potatoes or steak and rice. Mm-hmm. Or you could choose the pizza, and your body will show
Feel it, man.
It's really that simple. It's just about like having that discipline. And like you said, having the perspective to know that it's a priority, that you got to do it. But dude,
the difference.
Kevin Sherrill, appreciate you, brother. This has been a great chat.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for you taking the time. Hope you go learn them rules, bro. Learn about this stalling.
Yeah, man.
What's stalling? What's not stalling?
Yeah. Dude, it's whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the stalls don't matter.
I love it, dude. That's great.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, dude.
You have a good one.
You too, brother.
Thank you.
Good luck today.